Hello guys, welcome to Online Web Tutor presented by PHP Solutions team. I am Sanjay. We are learning MySQL Stored Procedure tutorial for beginners. This is our part 8. Inside this video session guys, we are going to discuss about in-out parameter mode in MySQL Stored Procedure. Successfully we had seen about the two parameters mode, something called in and out, in our previous video, where we had discussed about that if you want to pass some conditions on the behalf of that, actually we are going to make our logics. So inside that we will pass our in parameter mode. But if we want to take the value or want to fetch some data or want to fetch from some result from the stored procedure, then we have to use about out parameter. So what basically in out parameter mode? In out parameter mode, the name itself clears is that the parameter mode which is used for both the purposes like in and the out. It means that inside this variable we can pass also the value to our stored procedure. Also, if we want to take some result from the stored procedure, we can store inside this variable. So how can we use in out parameter mode? Let's see in action. Back to browser. Now this is our database. Inside this database, here we have a table called tba_users. Now if I go to routine section, inside this, now if I open a new tab again for the tba_users and go at the top, and let's say that here is the score column we have supplied from the ID 1 to the ID 10. Now let's say that we want the value of ID, let's say 2. So how can we make a stored procedure in which we have to pass ID, and on the behalf of this 2 ID we are going to fetch the score value. So back here, let's create a routine and let's say get user score. If I make some zoom, right here procedure, and this time we are going to select called in out parameter mode, and this time we have to pass, let's say, table ID. It should be int. Now let's say that begin, and here, and inside this begin and end I'm going to pass our logic. So let's say select score from, let's say, tpl_users where ID equal to. Now let's say that this is not table ID. If I rename it to something table_value. Now if I copy this variable name and pasting it here. So what basically this query means? This query takes the ID, and by going through this ID it will pick the value of a score from tba_users table, and the score column we have right now. Now inside this I'm going to store this value, let's say score, into the same variable we are using called table_value. Now here, as we can see that we are storing the value inside this parameter, and also we are receiving this value from this parameter. So that's why we have used as in the two ways. Firstly, to pass a value we have used as in parameter mode. To store the value inside the same variable we have used called the out parameter mode. So that's why it is known as in out parameter mode. So let's say that here we have to pass called root @localhost. Now inside this section let's say contain SQL, and finally if I press go button, successfully we have created our stored procedure. Now here this is our procedure. Now if I make to call execute, now inside this, as we can see that we have to pass some value. So now let's say that I want to pass the true value here. This is ID. Now it will pick this ID and compare with this ID column. After getting the ID, it will pick the score value and store inside the same variable. So if I press go button, now as we can see that the output value is now returned with the same variable. Now let's say that if we want to perform some calculations by using our assignment operators, so how can we do that? If I scroll down, click on get users score. Now let's say that finally we are going to define, let's say, a local variable here. Let's say declare, let's say marks, or let's say extra marks, and it should be int. Now let's say extra marks, and if I put some default values, so let's say int, and default value let's say 10. What basically I want that after getting the score value, we want to add 10 more marks into the score value. Let's say that 10 score marks is extra for good handwriting, or let's say for the practical number. So how can we add that? So inside this local variable we have value 10. Now after finding the value of a score from this id, now let's say extra marks, let's say here, let's say extra marks equal to, if I add table value and finally the 10 marks. Not basically 10, this is the actually stored value inside this extra marks variable name. So pasting it here, and finally we are setting this value right here. So let's say sct. Now what basically we did, we have declared a local variable. Inside this local variable we have extra 10 marks. Now we are going to add this marks to our score value what we are getting from the id, and finally here we have added that this is the table value and this is extra marks. After getting the calculation or adding these two numbers, we have stored the same value inside this INOUT parameter mode variable. Now if I click on go, successfully we have executed that. Click on execute. Now if I press 5 button here, click on go. Now this is 79 value. Back to our users table, let's say 5. Now it has score value called 69, but remember we have added 10 extra marks, so that's why it has returned called 79. So this video session guys basically clears about INOUT parameter mode. From the next video we will see about some conditional statements in MySQL Stored Procedure. So inside this video session guys, if you have a doubt, then please drop your comment. I will give my reply as soon as possible. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.